G'day guys, and welcome to my Rugby League World Cup quarter-finals predictions. Before we get into the predictions, we're going to recap the third and final round of the regular, World Cup before we get into this week. The quarterfinals begin and there's some great matchup. There's been some very one-sided games. There's still been some good games of Rugby League, but this weekend is where it all starts. Right, so to start the final round of the World Cup, it saw New Zealand defeat Ireland 48 points to 10. So Ireland do not qualify and New Zealand do. A nice win for New Zealand there, and Ireland bow out of the World Cup. England defeated Greece with a big scoreline, 94 points to 4. Dominic Young was fantastic and he scored a lot of tries, and I believe he is the top try scorer just behind Addo-Carr in this competition at the moment. Sunday saw Fiji take on Scotland. I did say I think Scotland will put in a much better fight after that loss to Australia, and that's exactly what they did. They lost the game, but they only lost the game by 16, considering they lost by 84 the week prior, so 30 to 14 in favour of Fiji. And then Australia, once again dominant against Italy, 66 points to 6. Nathan Cleary, very involved. It was a battle between Nathan Cleary and Daly Cherry-Evans for who gets the spot, but as you've probably seen by now, both players have gotten that spot, and Italy bow out of the series. You saw Lebanon defeat Jamaica 74 points to 12. Jamaica had scored their first try in the Rugby League World Cup, and then they did a double this week, and Lebanon just convincing, and Adam Doueihi being back in that side. You can see what he brought to that Lebanese side, and it's going to be a great game, Australia versus Lebanon. It could be very competitive. Tonga with a huge scoreline over the Cook Islands. Taumalolo scored an early double. Will Penasini scored 4 tries. Tonga's looking very good. They've got a very tough game against Samoa, which is going to be a cracker, but they defeated the Cook Islands, who are now eliminated, 92 points to 10. Just a huge scoreline there. And then Samoa against France, they played fairly well. They won that game 62 points to 4. Big expectations on Samoa against their game against Tonga. They were at one point the favourites, or at least the favourites to be runners-up. Now they are pretty much one game away from elimination, and they go into the game as underdogs, so it's interesting. And then Wales were kept to 0 by PNG, 36 points to 0. And look, Reece Martin, just got to mention Reece Martin's goal kicking. He's absolutely phenomenal. His record, I think he's kicked something like 30 or 40, and I don't think I'm making this up, goals in a row. It's a huge number, a great effort, and PNG are going to be playing England in the quarterfinals this week. So here we are, the quarterfinals of the Rugby League World Cup. It all kicks off tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. when the Australian Kangaroos take on the Lebanon Cedars. The Kangaroos at $1, Lebanon $81. Huge odds for that one. In for the Kangaroos, few names back. Cameron Munster is back. Harry Grant is back. Josh Addo-Carr is back. Angus Crichton is back. And Jake Trbojevic is in. A few players out for this clash. Jeremiah Nanai is out. Ben Hunt is out, Regan Campbell-Gillard is out, and Matt Burton is out. So some interesting choices in regards to the side. On the wing, once again, Campbell Graham with Josh Addo-Carr. In the centres, Latrell Mitchell and Val Holmes. Munster in the 6, Cleary in the 7, with Daly Cherry-Evans coming off the bench. As for the Cedars, Jacob Kiraz is back for the Cedars. He is named as in. Kane Kolashi has been named. He is on the bench for the Cedars. So yeah, the Cedars, they can take a lot of confidence out of their win last week. It's going to be a very tough game against Australia. Do I think they can do it? Do I think there'll be an upset? Unfortunately, I don't. I think the Kangaroos will be way too good here. They're going to show that they can go all the way to this Rugby League World Cup final. And I'm going to go with Australia to win 50 points to 14. It's been a nice series for the most part. It's good watching Mitchell Moses, Adam Doueihi, Jacob Kiraz in this side, and some of the other players who aren't just NRL players or New South Wales Cup players. There's Kahim as well. So look, I think Australia will be too good here, and I think they'll win 50 points to 14. They've got the right team ready to roll this week. Ben Hunt being out is an interesting choice, but I guess to substitute Nathan Cleary and Daly Cherry-Evans. And Daly Cherry-Evans had a fantastic game the other day. It was hard to split the two. They were both absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I think that Australia will win by 36 points. Australia by 36 is going to be my tip tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Make sure you're watching. Next up is England taking on PNG. Now, I was very surprised to see PNG at $10. They have been quite poor for mine in this World Cup series for the most part. But then again, PNG, they can often surprise. In for this side, Mackenzie Yee, Watson Boas. And then in for the English side is Callum Watkins, Herbie Farnworth, and Elliot Whitehead. Ryan Hall is out for England, so Mackinson on the wing for this one. Now, in the centres, you've got Callum Watkins, I mentioned, and Kai Pearce-Paul. I mentioned Elliot Whitehead's return. So, yeah, this will be a decent game. This will be a decent game, and I think the Kumuls will bow out with some pride. I do. I think they will bow out, unfortunately. I think England will advance over PNG. However, I think that the Kumuls will score 10. So I'm going to go with a scoreline of 42 points to 10. England by 32. England for mine are probably one of the most in form, if not the most in form, and underrated team going into this World Cup quarterfinal series. You've seen the scorelines that they've been able to put on. It's going to be a great contest if the PNG can match up against them, but I don't think they can. And I think that PNG will disappear from the World Cup. 42 points to 10, so England to win by 32 is my tip. Next up is New Zealand versus Fiji. This one is at 6 a.m. on Sunday, so it's a Sunday game. Jared Waerea-Hargreaves is out for the New Zealand side. Scott Sorensen and Dallin Waiteni-Zelezniak is in. As for Fiji, Tui Kamikamica is in, and Joseph Ratavuka Saravali is out. Taruva at fullback. He's looking dangerous. He's had some very good game. But New Zealand, can you go past how good they've been playing? I believe it can't be an Australia-New Zealand final as well, based on some of the results. A lot of people thought it was going to happen. It can't happen. They can only meet, I think, next week in a final series. But I think New Zealand will be a little bit too good once again for Fiji here. Fiji, can they be competitive? Can they be high scoring? I just don't know, whereas New Zealand, I've got more of that trust, even if it's a close game, that New Zealand might just run away with it. I do think it will be close to start on with, and I think Fiji could get out to an early lead, but I think New Zealand will win by 22 here. I think they'll be too good, and I think they'll win 34 points to 12. So New Zealand to advance over Fiji by 22 points. And the final game of the Rugby League World Cup quarterfinals is mouth-watering. This is a game for the ages. Now, the team lists haven't come out for this game, which is freaking annoying. But it is Tonga and Samoa. It's going to be a great game. It's Monday at 1 a.m. I don't care how early it is. I don't care if you've got work the next day. Get up and watch it. You've seen Penasini scoring his try. You've seen Jerome Luai getting his try assist. You've seen those Penrith Panthers, Brian To'o. They're just a good side to watch, and they were expected to do a little bit more, especially beat England in week 1, and they were disappointing. Now they got a chance to prove themselves. They are underdogs. Tonga is in red-hot form. Penasini coming off the 4 tries. And then you've got Jason Taumalolo, who's in that typical Tongan form. This game's going to go right down to the wire. It's going to be a great game to watch. It's going to be one of the games of the year and probably the best game in the World Cup. We will see. Will it be one-sided by one of these sides blowing it out? I don't think it will be. But let's see if it happens. But I am going to tip Tonga. I'm going to tip Tonga. I think Tonga's in some really good form. I think Samoa can definitely upset them. I don't think this will be a 13-plus game. I think the most I can see a side winning is by 10. I'm going to go with Tonga by 6. I'm going to go with a pretty low-scoring game here. Your average game of footy score. I'm going to go 22 points to 16. I think Tonga can get past them. They are just great to watch. They've got a lot of skill in their side. Both teams have a lot of skill in their side, but I just think Tonga, with the form that they're in and that confidence that Samoa probably doesn't have from especially week 1, being kept to just 6 points, really disappointing for them. So I'm going to go with Tonga to win 22-16 in the final game of the World Cup quarterfinals. There you go, guys. Those are my tips for the Rugby League World Cup quarterfinals. All kicks off tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Make sure you check out, while the games are playing, I do simulate some Rugby League lives. I've been playing with Tarn, and we've been putting those out for you guys to enjoy. Some of them go down to the wire, some of them are blowouts, and some of them are just both poor errors from both of us. But make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I've got some great videos coming out for you guys about players coming off contract, super coach team, and yeah, looking forward to it, and I'll see you guys later.